The ancient Egyptians, they were masters of architecture, astronomy, and numerology.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. We're diving into this fascinating article today from the Rosicrucian Digest. It's all about how the Egyptians saw meaning in numbers,
Yeah.
especially in the numbers 3, 4, and 5. Apparently, a simple triangle, just a triangle, held the secrets to the cosmos.
It's true. The Egyptians believed that numbers weren't just for, counting. Like
Right.
they weren't just like 1, 2, 3, 4 sheep.
Right.
They represented like these fundamental forces of the universe.
Uh,
Their understanding was way beyond just basic math.
hmm. And we're better to see this in action than the Great Pyramid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
The pyramid itself is like a textbook of their beliefs.
Uh-huh.
It embodies the numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5 in its structure, in its very structure.
Wow.
Think about it. The whole pyramid, it's one structure.
Right.
It has 3 triangular faces,
Okay.
a square base with 4 sides.
Right.
And if you count the 4 corners plus the apex, you get 5 points.
Okay, so it wasn't just about building a big, impressive monument.
No.
They were encoding their worldview
Exactly.
into its very design.
And this isn't just speculation. The article highlights how these numbers, specifically in the form of a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, were central to their understanding of the universe.
Okay.
They called it the Egyptian Triangle.
Okay, a triangle with some famous numbers for its sides. I'm intrigued. But how does a shape go beyond just geometry and become a key to the cosmos?
Well, the article draws this fascinating connection between the triangle sides and the Egyptian deities.
Okay.
The side representing 3 was linked to Osiris,
Right.
the father, symbol of origin.
Yeah.
The side representing 4 was connected to Isis, the mother, representing receptivity.
Okay.
And the hypotenuse, the 5, represented their son, Horus, symbolizing the outcome of the perfection achieved through the union of the first 2 principles.
So it's like a cosmic family tree embedded in a triangle. That's a powerful image.
It is.
Mm.
And it reflects a concept that's at the heart of a lot of Egyptian mythology, the idea of creation itself.
Right.
Osiris as the origin, Isis as the recipient, and Horus as that, perfect result. The Egyptians saw this triangle as this microcosm of these creative forces at play in the universe.
Wow, that's incredible. It makes you look at geometry in a whole new light. Speaking of light, I can't help but think of the Pythagorean theorem.
Right.
That whole a squared plus b squared equals c squared thing. Did the Egyptians know about that too?
It's fascinating you bring that up. While, we usually credit Pythagoras with that, he likely built on ancient knowledge, especially from the Egyptians. There's evidence they understood this 3-4-5 relationship long before him.
So how did they figure that out without all the formulas that we use today?
The article mentions mnemonic expansion,
Okay.
which sounds very complex, but think of it like this. Imagine a square.
Okay.
And to make it bigger, you add more squares around it, kind of in an L shape.
Okay, I can picture that.
The Egyptians noticed that certain expansions, like going from a 2x2 square to a 3x3 square, involved adding a gnomon with an area of 5.
Wow.
This pattern of growth, this 3-4-5 relationship, they saw it everywhere in nature. And it became like a foundational principle in their architecture and understanding of the universe.
So they were observing patterns in nature, seeing the mathematical underpinnings of growth and expansion.
Yeah, totally.
That's a pretty sophisticated understanding for their time.
Absolutely. And these ideas, they didn't stay confined to ancient Egypt. The article talks about how centuries later, medieval alchemists became fascinated by this Egyptian triangle.
Really?
Yeah.
The alchemists?
They incorporated it into their own symbolic systems.
Oh, I bet they had a field day with a shape this loaded with meaning. What was their take on the magic of 3, 4, and 5?
To the alchemists, the triangle represented first matter, like the primordial substance from which everything is formed. They assigned each side, and even the hypotenuse, specific symbolic meanings. For instance, the vertical side, Osiris's side, that stood for the 3 alchemical principles, salt, sulfur, and mercury.
Oh, classic alchemy, always with the potent ingredients.
Right. And the horizontal side, representing Isis, that was all about the 4 elements, fire, water, air, and earth. The fundamental building blocks of the material world.
Okay, so we've got the core principles, we've got the elements. What about that all-important hypotenuse?
Well, they divided that into 5 sections, each representing a stage in the journey of life.
Oh, wow.
Starting with minerals
Okay.
and progressing through plants, animals, and humans.
So it's like a spiritual ladder climbing towards something greater. What's the final rung?
The final stage represents enlightened beings,
Okay.
those who have, transcended the material world and achieved spiritual enlightenment.
Right.
The alchemists, they saw this journey as this progression of spirit into matter,
Okay.
a transformation that's symbolized by the very shape of the triangle.
So it's not just like a linear progression, but like a true transformation. Each stage marked by like a significant leap in complexity and awareness.
Precisely. And the article really emphasizes how the alchemists used the triangle's proportions to convey the effort involved in each of these transformations. Each stage on that hypotenuse, it occupies 1/5 of its length,
Okay.
signifying that the journey from, say, mineral to plant is just as significant as the journey from human to, enlightened being.
It's fascinating how they found meaning not just in the numbers themselves, but like in the relationships, in the ratios between them.
Absolutely. It really highlights how the Egyptians, and later the alchemists, saw this deeper order within the structure of the universe they were looking for and finding these hidden connections like everywhere.
Speaking of hidden connections, the article goes on to mention a shape I'd never associated with any of this before. The Vesica Piscis? What is that exactly? I'm not familiar with that.
So imagine two circles overlapping,
Okay.
just touching at their centers.
Okay.
That almond-shaped space where they intersect, that's the Vesica Piscis. And here's the really intriguing part. Its proportions are directly related to the square root of 3, a number that's inherently linked back to our Egyptian triangle.
Okay, there's clearly some intentional geometry going on here. But what did the Egyptians or even the alchemists see in this almond shape?
Well, let's consider something for a moment.
Okay.
What's the shape of the human eye?
It's,
Yeah,
you're going to say the Vesica Piscis, aren't you?
it is.
Wow.
The very way we see the world is through this shape, so intrinsically linked to the Egyptian triangle.
That's amazing. It's like our perception is literally framed by this ancient symbol.
Yeah.
What's the significance of that?
Well, the article connects this to the concept of seeing eye to eye,
Right?
which has held, spiritual significance for millennia.
Of course, yeah.
It suggests a shared vision, a deeper connection than just, understanding another person's point of view.
Right.
It hints at this shared reality that we kind of tap into and we connect on that level.
And to think, this symbol of connection, it's not just this abstract idea, it's built into our biology.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder about the other ways that this shape might manifest in our world.
You're right. The Vesica Piscis pops up in fascinating places. Art, architecture, religious iconography across cultures. It's like this hidden code pointing towards a deeper level of interconnectedness.
Okay, I have to ask, does this rabbit hole go even deeper? What else did the article uncover on this journey through shapes and symbolism?
This is where things get really interesting.
Ooh,
The article introduces us to Metatron's cube,
Okay.
which is this complex three-dimensional figure containing the blueprints for many primal forms,
Okay.
including the Platonic solids.
Platonic solid. Now we're really venturing into like the realm of sacred geometry.
I know, right? But don't worry, we don't need to dissect the intricacies of Platonic solids right now.
Okay.
What's important is that this fascinating figure, Metatron's cube, emerges from the very same geometric principles as the Egyptian triangle. It's like that simple triangle holds the seed for this incredibly complex, multi-dimensional form.
So we've gone from a triangle to like the building blocks of the universe.
Basically.
That's quite a leap. What else can we unpack from this Metatron's cube?
Well, if you look closely, you'll notice two prominent triangles within the cube that intersect to form a six-pointed star,
Okay.
also known as the Star of David or the hexagram.
Ah, I see it. But what's the relevance of that symbol in this context?
The hexagram has such rich symbolic meaning in so many cultures.
Right.
Here, it represents harmony, balance.
Okay.
One triangle pointing upwards, the other downwards, symbolizing that union of celestial and earthly forces. The merging of opposites. It's this powerful visual representation of the balance that's inherent in the cosmos. And it doesn't stop there. The article points out that the 6 points of the hexagram also symbolize divine light, radiating outwards and encompassing everything within its embrace.
So not just balance, but this idea of a universal, all-encompassing light emanating from the very structure of this cube. It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And we're not quite done yet. Remember how the number 5, represented by Horus, symbolized humanity in the Egyptian triangle?
Right, yeah.
Well, if you look at the very heart of Metatron's cube, you'll find a pentagon and a pentagram.
Okay, so we're connecting back to ourselves now, to the human experience, right? Within this vast cosmic blueprint.
The pentagram, a symbol that's, found in many cultures, It often represents the potential for humanity to embody that divine light that we were just talking about.
Wow.
It's like we're being shown our place within this grand design,
Right.
not just as observers, but as potential conduits for these universal forces.
It's awe-inspiring, really. Who knew a simple triangle could unlock so much meaning?
It really highlights how profound the ancient Egyptian understanding of the universe was. They saw numbers, shapes, ratios, not as these abstract concepts, but as reflections of the forces that, govern existence.
Mm.
This article has just scratched the surface. But it makes you wonder what else we might discover by exploring the geometry of the natural world.
Totally. It's like they left us this roadmap
Right.
hidden in plain sight. It
Exactly.
makes you want to go out and look for those patterns, look for those connections and everything.
Yeah?
Maybe there's like a secret language embedded in the world around us just waiting to be deciphered.
That's a fascinating thought.
Yeah,
If these ancient symbols have resonated across cultures and millennia, there's certainly something, timeless and universal about the principles that they embody.
absolutely. Well, I don't know about you, but this deep dive has given me a whole new perspective on the power of shapes and numbers. It makes you appreciate the elegance and just the interconnectedness of the universe in a whole new way.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that there's always more to discover, more to learn, if we just open our minds to the possibilities.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration. Until next time, keep looking for those hidden connections, those echoes of ancient wisdom in the world around you. You never know what you might find.